Councillor Baxter. Yeah, I think we've got everyone back. I am aware that Councillor Dobson had to pop out for 10-15 minutes. Okay, are we all settled? Lovely, refreshed. So, oh, he's back. I'll just let him. Okay, I'll move on to item 10, which is the midterm performance indicators. As a reminder, this midterm year update report outlines South Kesteven District Council's performance against the corporate plan key performance indicators, KPIs, for the year of 2022 to 23. If you refer to your papers, pages 65 to 82, that's right, yeah. In the absence of our leader, Councillor Cook, I will ask Councillor Adam Stokes, our Deputy Leader, to present the report. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. This report is presented to the committee with the key performance indicators for the period to the end of September 22. There are 12 key performance actions that this committee is responsible for scrutinising from the corporate plan. Of those, 8 are green, 2 are amber, and 2 are red. If you look at the appendix to the report, the first action is embed the work of SK Community Hub to support volunteering and the voluntary and community sector. This is currently green and on target to support the 103 groups. In the commentary, you will note that the officers support groups with external funding bids to increase their chances of success, which is vital at this time. The next KPI is to continue to work in partnership with the police and community in tackling crime, investing in the CCTV service, which is also green, as the service has already met the target of supporting the police with arrests and continues its fantastic work. Healthy and Strong Communities 8 is to embrace the National Mental Health Challenge, ensuring that the council places mental well-being at the heart of decision making. Again, this is green, and there is a programme in place for events and a talk by Don't Lose Hope for Men's Mental Health Week, which took place a couple of weeks ago. Healthy and Strong Communities 9 is make best use of different funding sources to support the voluntary and cultural sector within the district. The Q2 status against this indicator shows we have currently exceeding target for the year and is also green. Protecting our most vulnerable residents with robust safeguarding processes is also green, with 96% of the relevant staff trained, and the council has recently completed the Lincolnshire Assessment and Assurance Framework in relation to safeguarding adults. All aspects of the audit were evidenced as effective. The audit is currently in moderation stages, with feedback anticipated early in 2023. Moving on to housing, the next KPI is to work in partnership with the housing markets to stimulate housing growth. The measures in this action have been read from adoption, as the local plan's annual target for housing completions is 650 dwellings. A total of 244 dwellings have been completed in Q1 and 2, and officers are reviewing the council's housing needs as part of the local plan review, which is we also include reviewing where to allocate any additional housing should we need to increase our housing supply. The next KPI is regarding homelessness in the district, where there are a range of measures. It is worth noting that the supporting information that officers have been supporting asylum, homes for Ukraine, and the council being a host to the Afghan Bridging Hotel. There is a strong focus on prevention to support and accommodate people in the private sector alongside accommodating in council-owned stock. In order to support housing, the housing need, the adoption and implementation of the allocations policy enables the team to provide clear focus around individuals and families most in need. On to increasing the number of council properties and reducing the overall CO2 emissions. The projects are at various stages in Swinegate Lodge, Close, Elizabeth Road and Uplands Drive, totaling 51 units. Officers were unable to obtain the data for the solid fuel. 100% of the major planning applications are determined in time and 88% of the non-major applications are determined on time against targets. The suggestion would be to review these targets should the committee wish to now or review as part of the next corporate plan. There are a range of measures in housing that meets the needs of residents. 5 with rent collection and gas certificates just missing their targets for Q2, but as been mentioned previously with gas, the number of homes meeting the decent home standard remains above target and green. There are a number of repairs vacancies being recruited to currently, which is impacting on the statistics. The number of affordable homes target of 100 for the year is on target, with 66 completed by working in partnership with housing providers and developers, and the council will continue to work closely with the developers on this to meet the needs of our local residents. Housing that meets the needs of all residents. 9, the action is to ensure that major developments in South Kesteven are high quality with sustainable good design. This is green, with Design Pad having reviewed 4 pre-application schemes, 4 planning applications and the draft master plan in Barrowby for development in Barrowby. Design Pad was particularly successful in securing amendments to a development in Colsterworth, which was approved at the planning committee back in September. And the council also uses the Building for Healthy Life scheme, which is a design tool for creating places that are better for people and nature. This concludes the information in the report, Chairman, and there are officers in the attendance today should the members have any questions around those KPIs. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Stokes, for your updates. And I see Councillor Ray Wotton, you wish to ask a question.
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Chairman. Page 72, relation to CCTV. The target 3% looks really low compared to the number of instances where offenders have been arrested. Do we know out of 2,223 incidents what sort of crimes they are and whether those arrests result in prosecution at all? Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Who would like to answer? Councillor Wotton, are we in a position to?
I think if we can take that one away, Councillor, and we'll speak to Anne-Marie and her team, and we'll try and provide some statistics behind that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. There'll be quite a lot of data to go through, so that's noted. And thank you, Councillor.
The reason I raised it, Chairman, I remember last year there was over 600 arrests made through the CCTV, which resulted in prosecution. So that figure looks low. Thank you.
Yeah, that's probably something we could look into, whether it's obviously less staff in the CCTV room, less officers obviously on the beat. So yeah, we'll certainly take that forward. Thank you. Councillor Dixon Warren.
Thank you, Chair. Just anecdotal addition to that. I sat in on the Bourne, Stamford and Deeping neighbourhood policing priorities meeting yesterday, and they singled out SKDC CCT operators for praise for the work that they do in enabling it. They didn't quantify how many people were arrested, but the contribution that the district's CCTV operators make to helping the police to target criminals and suspected crime is much appreciated. So I thought I'd just mention that as a context. The police very much appreciate the very close working relationship that they do have with the council on this. Thank you.
Yeah, no, they are phenomenal CCTV operators, and they obviously guide the police and keep a watchful eye, you know, so that hopefully there's not too many gaps in, you know, when a crime's been committed. So yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Councillor Cleaver, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. A couple of things, please. On page 44, the affordable housing target, 66 out of 100, yet the current status is green. And not, can someone explain how that comes about? And then more important.
Sorry, Councillor Cleaver, just 81.
Sorry.
Yeah, 81. I'm reliably informed.
Okay, so
It's a bit confusing. Sorry, Richard, carry on.
okay. On page okay, so on the housing that meets the needs of all residents, all red on the page 39. So 650 target achieved 244. Now, I guess it is really only appropriate to measure this over the lifetime of the local plan. I completely get that because we have no control over when developers are going to start building stuff. So, you know, I don't think we need to beat ourselves up about that. But therefore, I would expect to see something in the measure that kind of ties this in with our housing supply report, our latest one, which I think was done in July, to say whether, you know, how many permissions we've got, what's actually been, what permissions have been granted in relation to us meeting the overall, which I can't remember the exact figure for the local plan up to 2036. I know that we're well on target in Stamford, which I obviously focus on as a Stamford member. And I know that we've got 200 houses being very rapidly built on the east side of the town at the moment, 66%, 60% of which are going to be affordable. So I do know that this is ongoing, but I just would make the comment that when we see these statistics and they see them all red, that really isn't the full story. And it would be nice to see a little bit of background about, well, you know, here's the latest housing supply, which is to say it's quite new, isn't it? We've done it quite recently, which actually paints a more reasonable picture. And again, in relation also to the amount of affordable housing. And I'll come to that when we do the future programme about the affordable housing. So I won't bore you with that as well. On the homelessness question.
Yeah, sorry, Richard, I know Councillor Reid wanted to respond to you first. If that's okay, we can cover that first.
Just very quickly, Chair, I think there's a delicate balance which we all have to remember about all affordable housing schemes when it comes to planning and the criteria with them. And sometimes that makes, I think, the supply of them a bit more delicate in delivering. But hey ho, that's something for planning policy to possibly, in my opinion, relax a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have another question?
Sorry, just to follow that up, and I will follow up what Councillor Reid has said about affordable housing when we come to the future items for the committee. On the housing that meets the needs of all residents, too, the red on the proportion of prevention cases successfully resolved. Now, with all these KPIs, you always have a problem if the percentages relate to a very small number. I get that. And it's often a problem when we're talking about things like this. So again, it may be that the percentages don't really reflect the reality. If literally you've only got 4 or 5 people in the whole of the population you're measuring, then a change in one person changes the percentage by 20%. So we have to be careful using percentages. Again, completely get that. So therefore, it would be helpful when it's a percentage only measure to know what the size of the population is that we're talking about. But also, you know, if 39.06% of a target of above 50 is an issue, I would suggest it's something that we need to come back to and do a deep dive into as a scrutiny committee.
Craig, do you want to respond?
Yeah, I think the way to look at that is that there is seasonal swings with regards to that. 39.06% is what we're achieving at present. I think that the 50% target is very much a stretch target, and it's not something that's easily achieved. I think the positive to take from that is obviously the proportion of the relief cases that have been successfully resolved. But I think that the best thing to do would be to provide numbers within the commentary in future, just so you can actually understand the numbers in that one. So I will take that one away to provide that broader understanding.
Thank you.
Councillor Moran.
Thank you. On the initial priorities that are marked in green, I do take issue a bit with Healthy and Strong Communities 8, where it says about embracing the National Mental Health Challenge, bearing in mind the recent decision that has been made on the Deepings Leisure Centre. I don't honestly think we deserve a green on that for the mental distress that's been visited on my parishioners. However, number 9 says make best use of different funding sources to support the voluntary and cultural sector within the district. Would this also include leisure? And if so, would SKDC support any community applications for funding from the community directly to reopen the Deepings Leisure Centre without SKDC being in the equation?
Obviously, we're steering away from housing. I appreciate your concern and question. Does anyone want to comment towards Councillor Moran's concerns? I would say, Director of Growth and Culture, Nicola, you've been sitting patiently. I'll let you respond.
We'll get there. I'll take that away and I'll come back to you separately outside of the meeting, and then we can share it with the rest of the committee. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, thank you. Do I have any other questions, Councillor Baxter?
Thank you. I wanted to ask about the delivery of housing across the district. We were told many years ago about Spitalgate Heath being a garden village with 5,000 new houses. Has a single brick of a single house been laid yet? And if not, when will we see significant progress? Secondly, I wanted to ask about the promise that was made by Councillor Dobson and Councillor Cook in a video in 2018 or 19, where we were promised 500 houses over 7 years. I realise that we've got problems with Brexit and COVID and Putin and cost of living and trust and everything else. However, how many houses have been delivered since that video was launched? Is it over 50? Is it over 100? On the form, which talks about the houses that we're planning to deliver as a local authority, obviously that sheet is nearly all red. I'm looking at page 78 or 41, depending on which version you're reading. It says that Larch Close planning permission is being sought. I've just looked through the planning applications website and I cannot find an application for Larch Close. So in what way is planning permission being sought? And the next one down says Uplands Drive, public consultation to be launched in the autumn. Which autumn?
Yeah, thanks for that. I think Craig's going to respond.
Thank you, Councillor Baxter, for the questions. With regards to Larch Close, we're making a minor amendment to the plans before we actually submit them for planning permission. So that should be upcoming relatively soon. Uplands Drive the consultation will be launched in autumn 2023.
And Nicola, do you want to respond to the other questions about Garden Village?
Thank you. Councillor Baxter is absolutely correct. We've got some big schemes on the horizon. We've got the barracks, the Garden Village, and also Stamford North as well. We're making good progress as a team with the respective developers. And the other thing is that I think it was the 1st of December, policy planning committee received an update in terms of our our land supply, and we've got a really healthy land supply as well, 5.2 years. So things are moving in the right direction. I appreciate maybe not in the timeline that was originally anticipated, but we are making progress.
Yeah, Councillor Baxter.
Thank you for that. It's encouraging. Is there any tangible evidence of progress?
As in, have we put any footings down or anything? No.
No, thank you. Perhaps moving forward, if there are positive updates, please, I'd be grateful to come back to this committee. Yeah.
Chair, there was one outstanding question, which was how many houses have we built since 2019?
Councillor Reid.
Well, let's just start with where we are. There's 42 to being delivered this year. There's going to be within the conversation today, 51 that will be delivered next year, being 22-23. I'll just get Craig to research the year before. I think from memory, Councillor Baxter, I think it was 14, wasn't it? I think possibly, but I'll get that clarified. I think what matters to me, Madam Chairman, and it really does matter to me, is I didn't sit comfortably with how many houses were going to be delivered at the start of taking over the housing portfolio, because it's a matter of finding a way in which to deliver this project. To deliver this project under current circumstances is a huge investment, and indeed on the other side of this has been widely spoken about and indeed taken into great consideration is the stock condition report of those houses that we have. However, my vision, and I have loosely spoken to the Director of Finances in conjunction with the portfolio holder and indeed with the Acting Director of Housing, is to look rather than as, I mean, the forces are against us with the right to buy and how much money we get as a capital receipt and the one-for-ones that we have as well. And these things do tend to hamper us where investment's concerned. However, what we have been doing is we've been using these investments that have gone into the reserves to fund the programme that has been delivered. And I'd like to look at, rather than in the future for the next term, it certainly wouldn't be for this term, but I'd like to look into the feasibility. And I quite welcome the views of people on Scrutiny as well as to how we can deliver. Now, I think that there is a probability that rather than spend the money on delivering new homes, if we were to spend that amount of money on actually securing a much larger amount of money by way of loan deposit on a much larger delivery, and we actually borrowed some money in our HRA stock to actually deliver more homes, that would actually make for a better yield. And I would like to, I really want to explore that. I'd be really interested in not a debate this afternoon, but I'd be really interested in what pitfalls, or whether people think it's members think it's a good idea, what ways we could perhaps drive that initiative forward, because we will get onto choice-based letting shortly, and we all know that the pressure on our housing demands at the moment that currently we've got 1,500 live applications, and indeed, last year we found 327. So that's 1 in 5 of the applications that we've got that we're actually finding homes for. And, we would all like to improve that yield. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, both of you, for the question and the response. Councillor Stokes.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I know on the back of what Councillor Reid has just said, I mean, obviously financial modelling would need to be done before any suggestion like that is brought forward.
Thank you. No. I'll just take one last question from you, Ashley.
I just wanted to be sure what I've just heard. Is Councillor Reid suggesting that even though we've got, I think, roughly £50 million in the HRA account, which was previously earmarked for new houses, that he wants to borrow money to build new houses? Or have I misunderstood?
No, I did explain that it was for a larger discussion. What I'm explaining to you is to use some of our reserves as the fundamental deposit, and actually to borrow money on the capital investment to actually give a larger yield. That's where I'm coming from. And as you know, Councillor Adam Stokes says, this does need some financial model to be looked at, but it's not a surprise to him that I'm talking about it this afternoon. It's part of what I've been putting forward with the director that currently isn't with us, Andrew Cotton, as an aspiration to actually deliver in the next term. Thank you.
Did you want to add to that,
Yeah,
Councillor
it's
Stokes?
only a slight comment on that. Obviously, the reserves have been mentioned on the HRA. Obviously, we were very reluctant to go forward with a new build, as Councillor Reid will be aware and will agree with me on this, until the stock condition survey was complete, because obviously we didn't know the cost that would entail, so we didn't want to overstretch ourselves financially on that.
Councillor Reid, and then I'd like to
sort of further allude. I mean, the challenges that are faced upon us is we could easily spend that investment over the next 3 years in delivering improvements to our current stock, including addressing condensation, mold, and everything else that's there. So, you know, it is something that we need to, you know, I'd welcome a workshop about, to be honest. Thank you.
Thank you. This particular item obviously was noting, and we've had some good scrutiny and questions, which I thank the committee for, and I thank Councillor Stokes for presenting the report and for officers for their input, and Director of Growth and Culture. Thank you. So we'll move swiftly on now, please, to item 11, which is progress report on choice-based lettings in line with the housing allocation policy. This report seeks to update committee on progress in relation to the implementation of choice-based lettings following the adoption of the housing allocation policy. The committee will be requested to vote following the presentation to recommend to Cabinet the procurement of the choice-based letting system to meet the requirements of our adoption of the housing allocation policy. If you want to turn to pages 83 to 91 of your pack, please, and the report's to be introduced by Councillor Reid, and Craig is going to support him with any questions or updates. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. So choice-based lettings in line with our housing allocations policy. I think one of the things before introducing this is that choice-based lettings was discussed some time ago, many years ago, and I relate to findings that actually Councillor Shemaine Morgan actually made, and I found those of value historically. The report is an update on choice-based letting system and the progress since the committee and cabinet adoption of the housing allocation policy. There's about 1,500 live applications, as I've alluded to. Yes, 1,500. And for the last financial year, only 327 properties in our own stock were relet, and 189 from other social housing providers across the district. The choice-based letting scheme will help enable us to deliver the best possible service for those who have applications and they are transparent, widening the choice and access to be able to bid for these properties. The council have undertaken a compliant procurement process and are submitting this contract award for consideration at Cabinet next week. If approved, the system will go live, and that will be in the second quarter of next year. I would like to, just for clarity, make sure that members understand that this would be a standalone choice-based letting system, and it won't be part of our integrated our other housing services for clarity. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Reid. Do I have any questions from committee members, please? Councillor Cleaver.
Thank you. Just to get a couple of points. On the implementation on Appendix 2, we have customer re-registration, and it says close register apart from urgent cases, which clearly implies that non-urgent cases have got to re-register. I'm very conscious of the fact that one of the things that really annoys people with computer systems is, if you've already got my details, why are you asking me to fill in this form again? And therefore, when I see re-registration and closing registers, it rings alarm bells in my mind. I hope that we can, I get that there has to be a data conversion from an old system to a new system. Of course, that has to be done. It's something I used to do as my day job. But I would pray to you that when we do this process, we actually write to our tenants who have already registered and say, you will be put on the new system. We just want to check we've got your details right. And please don't tell them they've got to fill a new form in as if they've never been registered before. I'm sorry if that sounds rather simplistic, but seriously, it is very, very demoralizing when a public authority asks you to give your details again when we've already got them. And then on a going slightly higher.
Richard, I'll just stop you there and let Craig.
Yeah,
just,
okay.
Because we do get bombarded with form filling in this current age, and then I'll let you come in again.
Okay, thank you for that. Obviously, the re-registration process is not going to be about cold calling the people that are already on the list and asking them for all of the information again. It's going to be more about verifying the information that we hold to ensure that it's correct, and for them to do that online, and where that's not possible, we'll obviously do that over the telephone or in person. So it's very much a bespoke approach, but it's not about capturing all of the information again. It's about verifying what we have and ensuring that it's fit for purpose in the new system, and making those individuals aware.
Thank you. Councillor Reid, you wanted to add to that?
Yes, I did actually. Quite frankly, the work that Councillor Cleaver has done in the past, I'm sure, was many times better than the work that has been done up to date. It's a system that we need to do a better job. It's part of the whole housing culture and review. And Craig is absolutely right. We need to make sure that the live applications are current, and that the banding changes to proposed as well will also streamline and make better clarity, something that we all struggle with as councillors, with people in our wards that are on various bandings. I can't welcome this change enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any more questions? Because I'm happy to move to. Oh. Sorry.
Just to complete what I was going to say, I'm absolutely happy with this report. Absolutely fine with it. Not a problem. But again, with my kind of idea about how we do good scrutiny, we're not actually scrutinizing the paper that's going to go to cabinet, which seems slightly. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the one we're looking at. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm used to in another place, as it were, scrutinizing the very paper that's about to go to the cabinet for a cabinet decision. And again, we've got a decision presented. It says it's going to be presented to cabinet in 2022, but we're not seeing what they're going to see, to scrutinise it before they see it.
Thank you. Councillor Reid wants to respond.
I welcome what Councillor Cleaver says. I think that we have all spoken about scrutiny and scrutiny review, and the way in which scrutiny is able to help and be included really is going to be the transformation is going to come from the forward work plan to start with. And I think it would also include where scrutineers actually felt that they got topics that they wanted to do a project on. So, for example, one of them is about housing development that I've mentioned this afternoon. And two would be, well, possibly something, and that is an extension of this one, but I really wouldn't want this particular agenda item on housing allocation policy to actually be a pilot of a review, because it's much needed. It's if I could take any comments away that would support it, I'd understand that, but it's exactly the course. It's where we should be getting to with the energies of actually looking at the housing provision and indeed the housing management that we actually do. We've moved a long way in the last 4 years, and was a long, we really need to continue to move a long way on as well. And I really would value the way forward with housing within this scrutiny function, and be very pleased to be open, transparent, and listen to those of others. Thank you and value that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Reid. If I don't have any more questions, obviously the first item's for noting. The second item is a recommendation to Cabinet, the procurement of choice-based letting system to meet the requirements of our housing allocations policy. Do I have a proposer? Richard,
can we just ask to take account of comments made by members during this item?
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
can take account, and I also thank you for your questions, and I thank you for the response that I've received from the officers and Cabinet members. So we'll move to item number 2. So can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Cleaver proposed, and Councillor Dobson second that recommendation. If we move to the vote, all in favour? Unanimous. So that it's carried. Thank you very much. To go forward to Cabinet. So we move on to item 12, which is the work programme for 2022 to 23. If you can refer to pages 93 to 97 of your agenda pack. So I've got a couple of comments. So I think the first item, the compliance, we are going to review that again at our next meeting, which is the 9th of February, and get an update. Is there anything else, committee members? Councillor Wootton.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Have we got a date yet for the crime disorder meeting and agenda item for that particular meeting? Thank you.
No, we haven't, but that'll be noted, because I know you mentioned it before. I am in contact with the new policing team. It's something that I'm working on locally, but yes, I will certainly make sure we have got, as I say, a new team, and you've all got the details of who the new team is. So we'll make sure that that's put in the diary. Thank you. Oh, unscheduled items. Sorry, it's at the back, Ray. So we will get a date. Yeah, of course we will. Yeah, sorry. Did you want to say something? Just while we're on, pardon? Yeah. Right, who we got? Councillor Cleaver.
Sorry, yes, finally, effectiveness of affordable housing, which was mentioned last meeting, it's in the minutes, and it's been alluded to again in the performance report. So on that basis, can we make sure that does get scheduled, please? in terms of basically everything about affordable housing.
Yeah.
And its effectiveness, how much of it we've got, have we got enough coming through, is it meeting the needs of the community, etc., etc.
Yeah.
You know, a thorough discussion and investigation into that. Again, similarly on because voids are mentioned as I think I can't remember if it was an amber or a red. Again,
Okay.
a thorough report on what's happening with voids, not just the
Yeah.
stats, but actually what's behind the stats. I think would be helpful for us to scrutinise as well.
Yeah,
Schedule those two things.
we've got them on scheduled items. I don't know if you've seen them there. We just haven't put a date. Obviously, I always say this committee is very much a lot comes into it, so it's trying to get a timeline for each matter. But yes, I do take your comments on board. So yes, Councillor Reid.
Okay, well, several things. I think we could give a written response. We are with housing allocation, affordable housing, which I've just checked with the director, which would move that one forward rather than waiting to come to your next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I know on many occasions we've spoken about voids. This month's voids are of particular interest in the activities. So on behalf of myself and Craig, we will be happy to note and give a written response before we even get to the consideration of the next meeting. We'd be very happy to do that. And if all committee members have contributed towards the work plan, is that so? Because it's not for me to influence what is discussed at this meeting. I would like to make a suggestion to put forward that which is very much prevalent at the moment in our society, and indeed is a national situation, and that's to do with mould. And so therefore, I think we are well involved in managing where we are in mould. I'd like to give an update on where we are, what is in category 1, what is in category 2, and I'd value what scrutineers would have to tell me about what we're doing, and if they could add any value to the way that we're actually dealing with it. Thank you very much.
Right.
Chairman, I welcome that suggestion by Councillor Reid and look forward to his comments. Thank you.
Councillor
As I
Cleaver.
just received a piece of casework regarding mould, I also welcome that. Thank you, Councillor Reid. And I would just like to add that the two items I've asked to be prioritised on the schedule, I'm not just doing that for the sake of it. These are issues that I keep hearing from my constituents. It's something that people are concerned about. So you know, I'm not just doing it for the sake of it.
We would never think that, Councillor Cleaver. A very able scrutineer who we take your comments on board for sure. I know we have discussed voids at length in previous meetings, but it is time to obviously revisit both subjects. So thank you. If there's nothing else, obviously I did mention, hopefully, well, I'm very confident of this because I've been advised by Craig. Next meeting, which is the 9th of February, we should have the demonstration of new housing system, which personally I'm quite looking forward to because I think it's a really positive bit of work, and Craig has worked phenomenally hard. And bearing in mind he is acting director of housing as well, so I congratulate Craig and look forward to it. Thank you. Here. Anyway, not to build him up too much, put you down now, Craig. Thank you. So if there's nothing else for item 12, move on to item 13, which is any other business. I haven't got any. Has anyone else got any? No, I think we've had a good rigorous meeting and take on board everything, all the input, and I particularly want to thank all the people who've presented the reports, members and officers. So thank you very much. I probably won't see some of you before, but I just want to wish you all a happy Christmas. I know it's a bit of a tougher one this Christmas. So yeah, try and enjoy it and be with family and friends if we can. So thank you very much. And I wish you, and also that's echoed by my vice chairman. I'm sure we might be back in here. Yeah, so well said. Okay, so I declare this meeting closed, whatever time it is. Thank you. 4:45.